2 weeks, 12 set of medals, dramatic final shootings, duels on skis, snowfalls, joy and tears. The IBU World Championships had it all in Ostersund, making it for an exceptional showcase of biathlon at its finest as the season is slowly drawing to its conclusion. In a winter wonderland, the mixed relay was the first competition to assign medals in Sweden. And it set the bar high in terms of pathos and fun for the numerous fans that came to Jämtland. Italy's Lisa Vittozzi set the pace immediately and handed over to Dorothea Viera in the lead, who battled with Tiril Ekhoff and Denise Herrmann for the full lap. Johannes Stignesberg gave Vetle Sjøstad Christiansen a small margin, but the 26-year-old, at the very first World Championships appearance, did not crumble under pressure and brought home a gold that was missing since 2013. Benedikt Doll tried to close the gap, but still finished second, while Italy flirted with disaster with Dominik Windisch one spare away from the penalty loop. But they brought home the bronze medal. An incredibly exciting women's sprint was run on the next day, and with wind swirling in the range and a little snowfall, shooting clean was made hard for all biathletes. Early favourites all missed in the prawn. Ekhoff, Viera, Vittozzi and Osbo Reuseland also some black targets after the prawn, while Kaisa Makarainen missed in the standing and a tumble on the tracks saw her lose from the leaders. Ingrid Landmark Tandrevold took her chances and calmly cleared all 10 targets, sitting on the leader's seat after her run. One by one, most challengers for the win finished behind her until Anastasia Kuzmina cleared her standing after missing the prawn and took over the Norwegian. Laura Dahlmeier cleared her 10 targets but could not match the speed of the Slovak, closing in third place, denying the bronze medal by less than a second to home favourite Hanna Öberg. When Denise Herrmann missed twice in the standing, the three-time Olympic champion could let her motion run for a long sought-after World Championship title. Much better conditions welcomed the men's sprint on Saturday, and among top 10 finishers, only 2 failed to cover all 10 targets. Despite being one of them, Johannes Stignesberg could still ski his way to success, making up for the one penalty in the standing in the last loop to get the better of Alexander Loginov, who led after the last range. Quentin Fillon-Maillet closed the podium, but it was not without the thrill. The Frenchman withstood the comeback of Ukraine's Dmytro Pidruchny, who closed outside of the top 3 by a mere 0.3 seconds. Sunday's pursuit closed the first week of this World Championships, and it cannot be said that it wasn't on a high note. Difficult windy conditions made it very hard at the range for anyone but local girl Mona Brorsson, who found herself with a big lead at the last range. However, she let the moment get on her, and 4 misses condemned her out of podium contention. Denise Herrmann shot a perfect 5 and flew to the win, leaving teammate Dahlmeier battling on tracks with Tiril Ekhoff, who got the better of her in the final sprint. In a similar fashion, but much more unexpectedly, Johannes Stignesberg also reached the last dance with a big lead, but he missed thrice to allow a chance to the ones behind. Ukraine's Pidruchny shot clean and left the range in the lead, pushing his way to a maiden World Cup podium, which also meant a first ever gold medal by a man from his country. Fillon-Maillet engaged a battle with Tarjei Bø in the last loop and managed to outsprint the Norwegian for the second bronze of his World Championships. Despite not being happy about his runner-up spot, Bø could console himself by securing his first ever overall globe thanks to the second place. The women's individual was one of the most spectacular competitions on this format we've witnessed in many years. Paulina Fialkova started strong and led for most of the race, until a hesitation on the very last shot proved costly for her chances for medal. Dahlmeier also missed once, but still sat on the leader's seat in the hope to continue her streak of 13 consecutive medals at World Championships. Olympic champion Hanna Öberg was expected to bring the first medal for the home crowd and did not disappoint the fans. With a clinical performance at the range, she took the lead and anxiously waited for all contenders to finish. Lisa Vitozzi put her struggles behind and also fired a perfect 20 out of 20 to close behind the Swede and bring home the Crystal Globe of the individual, a first ever. The battle for gold was not over though, as Justine Brezaz redeemed herself after a nightmarish sprint and led for the first half of her individual. She missed once and her chances for the win vanished, but she could still close on the podium, her first ever individually at the World Championships. The men's individual on the next day had no shortage of emotions. Johannes Tinnesbø missed 3 times after a good start, and despite securing the discipline globe, he closed out of medal contention. Sebastian Samuelsson made the home crowd hope for a double win in the format after the success of Öberg, but one miss in the second prawn left him waiting at the finish for the whole competition. And Pfeiffer found his first ever 20 out of 20 in the format, and by doing so, he secured his maiden win in an individual and the world title with it. But the surprise of the day came by the name of Vladimir Iliev. The experienced Bulgarian missed only once and skied his way ahead of Samuelsson, becoming the first ever man from his nation to medal at the IBU World Championships. But just as the competition was about to finish, the young Swede was denied the bronze by Tarjei Bø, who closed in third after having lost the bronze in the pursuit on the finish line. Samuelsson could quickly forget about the missed chance, as on the next day he paired up with Öberg in the first ever single mixed relay competition at the IBU World Championships. The duo battled throughout the 4 legs with a wide group of contenders, but in the end it all went down to Italy, Norway, Germany and indeed Sweden. Bø took his third gold in Ostersund, with Marte Osbo-Røiseland keeping the assaults of Lukas Hofer and Dorothea Viera just behind, while the home team closed in third place for the joy of the local spectators. Norway completed a hat-trick of relays on the penultimate day of competitions in Ostersund by taking both the women and the men's ones. But it was with 2 different narratives. In the women's event, the Norwegians had to come back from behind, chasing Italy and the United States, who led midway into the competition. When Tiril Hekov hit the penalty loop and Anna Magnusson handed over to Öberg with a big lead, it felt that another gold was coming to the home team. The individual champion hesitated on the last range, and it was a sensational shooting by Osbo-Røiseland to make the difference for gold. Vali Semerenko then managed to keep the assaults of Laura Dahlmeier at bay to seize a bronze medal for Ukraine. In the men's relay, the Norwegian squad led for most of the competition, widening the gap in the third leg when Tarjei Bø left the range alone after Simon Destieux hit the penalty loop. He tagged on his brother, who reached the last range with almost a minute advantage, but with 3 misses and 3 spares, he had to keep his mind sharp to avoid the penalty loop and bring home the 4th relay success of Norway this fortnight. With Matan Foucault fading at the last range, Benedikt Dahl brought Germany to the silver medal, while a sensational leg by Alexander Loginov gave Russia the bronze. The final day with 2 must-starts did not fail to provide a dramatic ending to 2 weeks of exciting biathlon in Östersund. In a windy day and under a copious snowfall, shooting clean was made exceptionally hard. Italy's Dorothea Viera, however, who had skipped the relay on Saturday due to sickness, was the only clean shooter at the final range, when nerves contributed on the 2 misses that she had. With her chasers also missing, she left the range in the lead, but followed closely by Ekaterina Jurlova-Percht and Denise Herrmann. Despite a dramatic last loop, positions did not change, and Vera could become the first Italian woman to win gold at the IBU World Championships. The incredible day for the Italian team had just started though. Dominic Vintage entered a crazy last shooting of the men's master in 11th position, but as most struggled with the win, including 5 misses from Johannes Stignesbø, he found the perfect zero to fly in the lead. He could barely believe it when he crossed the finish line, but he was the new world champion. Anton Angigona and Julian Eberhard fought on the track in the last loop to complete the podium and close the World Championships with the first individual medals in Östersund. 2 emotional weeks have come to an end, but athletes will have to keep the focus for one more week of biathlon in Oslo Holmenkollen. In one of the temples of winter sports, so much is still at stakes, especially on the women's side, with all big and small globes still to be assigned.